Good stuff. Sam, take it over.
Thank you. Remembering back to my earliest bus ride, I was with my mother here in Los Angeles. She was an immigrant from Poland. She had been in Auschwitz concentration camp with my father. And she was on the bus, and she was wearing a short sleeve dress, so her numbers, her tattoo on her forearm, were showing. And there was another woman on the bus who also had her numbers showing on her forearm. And they started to talk, and they both found out that they were in the concentration camp together.
Wow.
They didn't know each other. But that woman was holding 2 chickens from the butcher. And it ended up, they spoke, and at the end, she gave my mother a chicken.
Wow.
And they became lifelong friends.
Huh.
So that was the earliest memory of the bus, and I continued to ride the bus growing up in LA because my mother never learned to drive. I think she went out for a driving lesson and came back shook up and never drove again. So those were my first experiences with riding the bus with my mother. And then in high school, I learned to surf. It was the Beach Boy era. And I went to Hamilton High School on Robertson, not far from Pico, and took the Pico bus for a quarter from Robertson and Pico to Santa Monica Beach, and then would ask people if I could borrow their surfboard. And that's how I learned to surf. And one thing we know as surfers, if you miss a wave, just like if you miss a bus, there's always another one coming. So Scott gave me a chance 1 month ago today to come up and tell my story. And since then, I was so encouraged by some of the non-bus jokes I told that I've been going to open mics, and I'm now pursuing my open mic career.
Great.
But it isn't about buses that I do my act. It's about how things have changed in my life, and a lot of people's lives. But today I'd like to give you some of the commandments from the bus God. And the first commandment is, thou shalt not support foreign oil. Thou shalt not increase pollution or global heating. Thou shalt not stress traffic or have to honk a horn and increase noise pollution. Thou shalt not be fined for moving or parking violations. Thou shalt not have to pay for registration, insurance, or even a driver's license. Thou shalt not have to ever find a place to park or pay for it. Thou shalt never have to check the gauges. I thought about it. There's water, there's brake fluid, there's steering fluid, there's transmission oil, there's Freon, and there's gasoline. I mean, how many fluids do you have to check? It's like taking off with a NASA launch when I get into my car, which I now avoid at all costs. And the last commandment, the second to the last, thou shalt walk, son. It's good for you. The last commandment, or the second to the last, is thou shalt get the cheapest live entertainment in Los Angeles. And thou shalt leave early. One thing that wasn't humorous to me, it was shocking, was the other night I got on the 704, or was it the 4 on Santa Monica Boulevard. It was late at night after I tried an open mic at the Improv or the Comedy Store or one of the clubs. And I get on the bus, and it was a pretty cool night. It wasn't raining. And I turned, and I looked down the bus, and in every seat, there was a person slumped over sleeping. Every single seat on the bus had a person sleeping on their side. And I realized, because of our housing situation, this is where a person has a room, like you said when you were traveling from the east, where they spend the night. It's dry, relatively warm, and it's $1.75, not $75. It was, I was so shocked I couldn't take a picture of it, but it seared this image in my mind. So for many, many reasons, I think we're really lucky to live in a town that's got buses. My name's Sam Cutter. Thank you very much.